Welcome back, Focus Learners, to this Explainer. Today, we're exploring a pretty fascinating and honestly kind of dangerous mystery in the professional world. It's this invisible ceiling where career growth just completely stops. If you've ever looked around and wondered how the best leaders effortlessly take on more and more responsibility while others just completely crumble under a new title, well, you're in exactly the right place. We are going to uncover the specific mindset shift you need to make sure your own leadership growth never stagnates. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's a really counterintuitive problem, isn't it? But you see it all the time. Someone is an absolute rock star in their current role. I mean, they're hitting every metric, breaking records, and they rightfully earn that big, exciting promotion. But then, almost overnight, they start to struggle. It's like the competence that completely defined them just vanishes into thin air. They look lost, overwhelmed, and frankly ineffective in their new corner office. So why does this happen? Why on earth does a reward for high performance so often result in sudden incompetence? It's a massive paradox, and wrapping our heads around the root cause is the very first step to making absolutely sure it never happens to us.
The answer to that paradox is actually defined by a famous concept known as the Peter Principle. Basically, it states that in any hierarchy, competent workers are continually promoted up the ladder until they finally land in a position where they are no longer competent. And that is exactly where they stay, which totally halts their growth. It's a really dangerous trap. But what actually causes it? Well, it's simple, but fatal, relying entirely on the past experiences and the exact same skills that got you the promotion in the first place. You just keep reaching into your old toolbox for an entirely new job, and boom, suddenly you're stagnating.
So, to figure out how to completely bypass this trap, we're looking at some incredibly sharp insights from Chapter 7 of Ryuho Okawa's book, Winning Strategies for Leaders. This specific chapter is entirely dedicated to one core concept: acquiring true depth and thickness as a leader. It makes the case that to be a resilient, long-lasting leader, you need a fundamental shift in how you actually view your own development.
And that fundamental shift? It's the paradigm transition from hindsight to foresight. To really add depth to your leadership capabilities, you literally cannot just look backward at what worked before. True leaders require a keen, almost piercing observation to see the future. It's about developing a forward-looking radar. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a forward-looking telescope. Hindsight tells you how you won yesterday's battle, sure, but foresight, that's what prepares you for the entirely different war that's coming tomorrow. If you want to avoid the Peter Principle, your main focus has to shift from celebrating your past experience to anticipating future demand.
And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast here. Relying on past experience is the old way of working. It's safe, it's comfortable, but it is exactly what causes that sudden incompetence we were just talking about. On the flip side, utilizing foresight to see the future is the new mindset. It's about consistently looking over the horizon. The source material makes it incredibly clear that to gain that essential depth and thickness as a leader, you absolutely must break the habit of constantly referencing your past victories. Instead, you've got to cultivate the observational skills needed to navigate the total unknown.
So, how do we actually cultivate that foresight day to day? Well, it comes down to one central theme: a core mindset introduced in Chapter 7, which is the concept of proactive learning. In the original text, this is framed as having an attitude of always learning in advance. It means you aren't just sitting around waiting for a problem to appear before you learn how to solve it. You're not waiting for promotion to finally figure out how to do the job. Proactive learning is this aggressive, forward-leaning posture where you are constantly gathering knowledge, skills, and perspectives for the reality you're going to face next year, not just the reality you're facing today. By adopting this proactive learning mindset, you're essentially building your own escape hatch out of the stagnation trap. It requires 3 critical actions. First, never neglect self-study. Even after you nail that massive promotion, the grind of self-improvement cannot stop. In fact, it kind of has to accelerate. Second, anticipate the future. Keep your eyes completely peeled for industry shifts and organizational changes. And third, and this is huge, prepare before the promotion happens. The absolute best time to train for the next level is right now, while you're still at your current level.
Now, a massive part of this proactive preparation involves actively elevating your perspective. You have to literally lift your gaze up from your current desk. When we talk about proactive learning, we definitely don't just mean reading more books about the job you already have. We mean actively observing and analyzing the roles that sit above your current station. Think about it. If you want to be ready for the next level, you have to start thinking at the next level today. You need to understand the pressures, the tough decisions, and the overall environment of the very people who are currently managing you.
Let's move to and see how this builds into a highly practical 3-step framework for execution. Step 1 is maintaining relentless self-improvement immediately post-promotion. Basically,
Don't get comfortable. Step 2 is exactly what we just discussed, consciously looking at your boss's job. Observe the challenges they face and ask yourself, how would I solve them? And then step 3 takes it even further into the future, imagining your future collaborators. This systematic approach ensures that you're constantly stretching your capabilities and your imagination way beyond the confines of your current job description.
Let's really elaborate on that third step for a second, because honestly, it's a game changer. Envisioning your future stage means developing a vivid, crystal-clear mental picture of the specific arena you're going to be operating in down the road. It's not just some vague hope of, oh, I want to be a VP one day. No, it's asking yourself the hard questions. What exactly does the market look like then? What are the new technological demands? What scale of budget will I actually be managing? The source text heavily emphasizes that to truly learn in advance, you have to realistically and intensely visualize the exact future stage you intend to stand on.
And once you have that vivid picture of the stage, you can start building your future team right in your mind. You need to visualize the exact stage, identify the necessary collaborators, and prepare for that reality today. Because let's face it, you won't be able to achieve those future, large-scale goals all by yourself. Who are you going to need by your side? What specific kinds of skills will they need? Holding this clear image of the people you will need to work with completely shapes your strategic networking and relationship-building decisions in the present. You start connecting with the right people long before you actually need to call in a favor.
This brings us to a profound shift in how you'll actually experience your daily professional life. You know, when you're constantly looking backward or only looking at the immediate fires burning on your desk, you are essentially living in a state of worry. But as the source text highlights, proactive learning allows you to move from worry to strategy. When you've anticipated the future, visualized the stage, and identified your future team, all those petty, day-to-day anxieties just begin to melt away. You aren't bogged down by the immediate unknown anymore because you have a long-term strategic plan mapping out your entire trajectory.
So the crucial point is really captured perfectly right here. You learn to live strategically without being trapped by worries. When you dedicate yourself to learning in advance and actively anticipating what's coming next, foresight entirely replaces fear. You gain that depth and thickness as a leader because you are deeply anchored by a strategic vision of the future, rather than just being tossed around by the unpredictable waves of current, daily problems.
Which leaves us with one final, vital question. Are you preparing for your next stage today? Take a really hard look at your daily routine. Are you only doing the job you have right now, or are you actively engaging in the proactive learning required to master the job you want next? The Peter Principle is out there for sure, just waiting for those who rest on their past successes. But by fully embracing foresight, studying the roles above you, and vividly imagining your future stage, you can guarantee that your leadership growth absolutely never stops. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today, Focus Learners. Take this mindset, apply it, and I'll catch you next time in our next explainer.